Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik, and today we checking again the War in the Pacific Admirals Edition game with the match against Dojo. Today turn number 11 means activity for 27th and 28th December 1941. These are still old turns of the match against Dojo, and only to fill the hole in the gap. Still waiting for feedback from Dojo that he uploads the next turn or that I get my turn back. So I still conquer some bases. Undefended bases, switching more as the owner. Most of my navy units are low on fuel or ammunition, so I call them back to base, repair them, refuel, rearm. So maybe not so much navy activity now in the next 2-3 turns, but I hope that my submarine still can find something. But looks like okay. A mixed cruiser formation from the Japanese side. This is a heavy cruiser, and these are 2 light cruisers and 3 destroyers for support. And these are maybe something like AMCs, not really warships. Yeah. So this is of course the one-sided stuff. Yeah. No chance for Dojo's forces. Easy picking. Okay, so this is my carrier fleet, my first carrier fleet. Last turn was first Brisbane and Sydney, and now we are east of Sydney, trying to find something between New Zealand and Australia. Maybe there's some shipping from Dojo. Give some pressure in this area so that Dojo cannot easily directly move his units, force him to run around long distances, avoid my task forces, and so that he at the end burn more fuel, need more time to transfer units, transfer material and supplies, something like this. And somehow there's still one I-16 left. I thought already last time I get rid of it, but okay. Only damage. Okay. Changsha is empty. Singapore have still won Blenheim. But these are something like heavy fighters. Normally I think they are normally night fighters. But Dojo use them for the day fighter role. Not that I use any night bombardment. Okay. Now the typical still some sweeping. and now the bombardment in China. A lot of killed units, not only disabled, so these are all broken units already. Most of them are already disabled and now they're getting destroyed. And here in Malaya, with the jungle and the not so easy terrain, it's for the Air Force much more complicated to create really damage for on the British Indian forces. But at least maybe we can create, or my Air Force maybe can at least keep the enemy fatigue high. This will also help, I think. Yeah. Everywhere a little. And at this time of the game I still attack it from 8,000 feet. Later I changed to 7,000 because there's normally no really... You can attack from 8,000, but the medium flag of the allies also only can reach 6,000 feet. So if the Japanese bombers coming in 7,000 feet, they're still out of range. So I think 7,000 is maybe still the best altitude for standard level bomber attack. But if it's really changed so much, it's hard to say. Maybe 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 is more or less always the same. The really big change is if you are trying coming under 7,000, because if the, not the Chinese, but if the allies, they have a lot of medium flag, then the flag losses will increase. Okay, so here's my carrier fleet. And we finding here some light cargo ships. Oh yeah, this is of course not the most important target. At least we find something. We don't really find, we find and kill something. But only very small targets. So only one small light cargo ship. Yeah. This is here are the Philippine division. Last time Dojo, I think I attacked him, but here was a Philippine division cut off in the north of the Philippines, and we had here a big battle last turn, and this is what is left of this unit. So you can see they suffer high losses. And they're broken, no morale left, so I must send maybe some Japanese Navy Guard units there to clean up the mess. Okay. Dutch Navy bombers or level bombers trying again. Yeah, but they only try. 8,000 feet, long range attack. So only half the bomb load again. Yeah, this is L212. This is I think more or less scout bombers. They have, I think, a very small payload capacity. So they're coming from a long distance attack. So they only carry two 15 kilogram bombs. So I mean, a 15 kilogram bomb, I think, is maybe the smallest bomb calculated in this kind of game. So not sure what a 15 kilogram bomb can even create damage on a heavy cruiser. I think doesn't care. A destroyer also maybe one system damage, something like this. Yeah, not really too active turn now. It's maybe the first low point of the game. That because I must really call back many of my navy units, and I also win the vector. The skies of Malaya are already completely empty. The Philippines is under Japanese control, so there's no air battle, no navy battle. It's more or less now clean up and bring my forces in a position to strike again. Here is now Kuala Lumpur, but I think Dojo already left the city, so undefended takes the base. This is now Kukong. Dojo have here some war area, so a 4-star general with a 3-star general, but this is the command chain is okay, but the problem is that there's only one broken Chinese corps and some base forces. Of course, this is never enough to fight a whole well-organized Japanese army around the 23rd HQ. So this is now an easy victory for me. But again, I would say these bases are so far away from the Chinese center, so it's really hard for the national Chinese army maybe to defend this kind of stuff. So maybe it's just wise not to try to send their reinforcements. And Japanese only have disabled, so nothing gets destroyed, and the Chinese forces are again falling apart. Again, an easy victory for the Japanese army. But every player must keep in mind that It is totally, let's say, normal that the Japanese must win nearly every battle in the first 3-4 months. That is standard. So if the Japanese will not win this first 3-4 months, most of the battles easily, quickly, then the Japanese already on the losing side. So for the Allies, it's maybe really only the question how fast and how far they fall back and which battle they pick. They try to hold the line. Okay. Again, some Allied submarine, but in shallow water, and shitty Japanese 1-point patrol ship. So nothing really happens. Not really active for my submarines, so most of the time my submarines already at least pick 1 or 2 ships from Dojo each turn, but this time nothing. Huh? Okay, this time Dojo submarine tried to sink my patrol ship, but it was a waste of torpedoes. Only 2, but less torpedoes this submarine can fire against my really important ships. So no navy engagement this turn. So Changsha looks like I have really no cap fighters more. Yeah, and this is I think maybe the first time. Last turn I sent my fighters to Singapore, but Singapore airspace is now completely empty. No allied fighter left. So I changed the location and use now my zeros to sweep Batavia. And these demon fighters are completely outdated, and these are buffaloes. But Dutch set up buffaloes. So the core airframe is still a buffalo fighter, but the Dutch, they have I think other machine guns and some small changes to the airframe. So at the end, this is still the Buffalo is maybe a second class fighter, the Demon is a third class fighter, and the Zeros are first class fighters plus first class pilots. So the only thing what is now in favor for Dojo is that we're fighting in Batavia airspace. So killed pilots maybe to 50% can survive, and if there's another airframe, they can fight another day. And every killed zero fighters will now be lost. But the zeros are coming from behind means they have often a high chance to create a hit, and that can normally also have often then a kill, especially against this non-armed with this light fighters, let's say this, without armor protection. But today we have many damaged airplanes for Dojo, but not killed. So maybe a little lucky day for Dojo. If I cannot kill the demon fighters, then at least I get rid of these buffaloes. That is also fine for me. At the end, this all will train my pilots. And if I remember, this squadron around this 45 zeros, this is the size of this unit if we can bring all in the air. I think this is the most skillful fighter force all of Japan have. At least later in the game in April, these pilots have so much experience and so high kills, nothing else come close to it. So they don't start at the elite units. Normally the elite units are at the carriers, but the carriers, they really don't, at least the zero fighters of the carriers, they don't have too much experience later on in the war. But this land-based zeros, they killing the Dutch Air Force here in Java. They also get rid of the British Malayan Air Force in Malaysia. So they really have a lot of experience. And there is, so far I know, really for the Allies not much they can do. The zeros are simply really too strong at the beginning of the war. But it's a question of time. In April, latest in May, the zero is just equally good. And I think in August, September, the type 2 zero is already starting to get outdated. The maneuver values of the zeros are still top, and the range is first class. But the speed of the zero is really lacking later on. The Allied airplanes are simply much faster, so they can maybe not be so close dogfight skill, but the Allies fighters, they can choose the fights they want. So if you have an airplane is simply 20, 30, 40, 50 miles per hour faster, then you can attack and run away and then attack again. So hit and run tactic. And I think this is also what normally at the end the Japanese fighter force killed. So they had maybe the skills at some point, but later on the pilots had not more the experience, and their airframes was always too slow. The Japanese fighter force or airframes, they can never choose the fights they want to take. They must always accept what the Allied dictate them. And if the Allied fighter want to fight with them, they have no choice. They can never escape normally, or at least they cannot escape so easily. But here now it is a slaughter more or less for Dojo's fighters. It is the golden time, the happy time. Easy victory over Batavia. Official now 7 killed fighters. Let's see what happened in the intelligence report. A lot of airplanes for a little damage. This is the rest of the group, but no Dutch fighters left, so these 4 fighters are a little too late. But there's still 2 Blenheim fighters, so maybe something to kill now for the other zeros. Okay, the first damage must return. Yeah. Ui. Okay. So no kill, but some damage. This is now open area, so no cover for the land ground units, and so these are normally very small bombs. Okay, 4, so 200 kilogram bomb load per airplane, but still, so one airplane can nearly kill 1 soldier. This is normally a very good kill ratio. Yeah, still more and more, and never enough bombardment in China. Looks like the carrier fleet found nothing more in, or maybe now in the afternoon. So there are still many task forces, but they're all in the harbor. So it's a little risky to go in with some Navy task forces there if there's an enemy minefield. Okay. At least the Dutch Navy attack bombers, they always come out, they always try their luck and their skills, but really, so far, nothing. Now it looks really like the carrier was a little unlucky, useless. Okay. Oh, so in the last moment, at least one of my submarines again in Pago find one cargo ship and create, looks like 2 torpedo hits. And this is a AK, so this is not a civilian cargo ship, this is a military cargo ship. And the submarine even attack with surface guns, so that is a little special. 4 torpedo hits at the end, so this is really on fire, heavy damage, but in Pago, so maybe can survive, but we will see. No. Sinking sound, so that cargo ship is really dead. And normally if it's a military cargo ship, they're often over 10 points. Like 12, 13, 14 points. Okay. This is a small invasion preparation stuff. Only bring in some Navy Guard units. And kick the British out. Take the oil field. Here is the same. Okay. So not over aggressive turn, not really something important happened today. A lot of bombardment again in China, but this is typical. The numbers are still very in favor for the Japanese, so 12 killed to 0. And operational losses, we think this is equally similar numbers. So Dojo lost 11 buffaloes in Java, around, yeah. And also 5 demon fighters. The Japanese are losing 2 of these light bombers. Okay, and 2 Blenheims also they are killed in Singapore. And these are all operational losses 1 1 1 1 1 1. So 1 1 this can happen. So 19 to 9 looks good, fine. From 9 airframes lost, 1 pilot killed and 1 pilot wounded. So only 1 killed pilot out of 9. So this means nearly perfectly. And ships sunk This turn was for the Japanese, again nothing, and for the Allies, yeah. This is the ACMs, I mean, this is all the 1 point, this is nothing, and this also this light cargo ship, nothing, 1 point. But this military, it's really a Navy cargo ship with 6,000 cargo capacity and speed of 16, so they are always faster. And this is, I think, the bigger point. They normally have much better anti-aircraft equipment and they are faster. I think civilian cargo ships have maximum speed of 14, and at least most of them. So, not the numbers we kill, but at least one good cargo ship is dead. Yeah, something. At least something. Yeah, so not much more to say. Yeah, I still try to link here up. Still was not able for this. But I enter here this hex again. So my Mongolian army can now get rid of this unit and then try to rush down the second Chinese northern army. Yeah. Here you can also see that I was able to enter a hex. So maybe if I'm fast enough I can also catch this and kill them, kicks them out. Nothing really. And here you can see that my forces are closing into Nanyang. So I have here, this is only a support unit, but here is a little, here's now 600 attack value, and here is now 3,300 attack value. So together we have here over 4,000 attack value, coming very close to Nanyang. At the same time I try to bring two armies here together and then marching on Xi'an. And then if you see the future, you will know how this ends. And yeah. Here in the source is still a big mess. Every day fighting a little. I took Kukong. This force is around 800 strong. So now it's my job to more or less maybe here's only one unit. It's a question if I want to hunt down this unit or if I focus to kick this unit and then take this city. And then I can... if I take this city, this is the last city more or less here in the source. So then it's all cities are under my control. And then I only must... the next level will be keep all the highways under control. Yeah, and so on and so on and so on. Kukong I took with very light losses, so only 2 damaged resources. So I will normally say off, repair and fine. Not much more to do here. I mean a lot of bombardment here, but this is always how much bombardment you want to have here is really related to the tactic the Japanese want to use here. Air Force attacks will burn supplies. So if you want maybe keep the supplies more stable and have more time to use your army forces, you use less Air Force. But again, I said this, the Air Forces have a purpose. It's I burn with the Air Force supplies, but I help my army, and at the end maybe it's boost up the speed of my advance, so I can maybe win faster battles and take bases, and this allow me to create more supplies or deny supplies for the Chinese. So yeah, here in Indian Ocean is so fun. There's at this time nothing. Simply because I don't have Singapore. Without Singapore it's really a little complicated to run Navy forces into the Bay of Bengal. And I think this is a little dangerous. With submarines you can do it, but the rest I would say can do it, but it's too dangerous for me. So I still try to create the force here in Singapore or near to Singapore. So far these units are not strong enough to really attack immediately, but there are also at least 3 British Indian forces left I have to clean up. At least there's 2 forces On the rail, or yeah, on the rail and on the road, I must get rid of this. This one is in the jungle, I don't really care too much. You can see a lot of submarines here. And this force is also now really time to return. I try to find here something, but in Batavia I don't want to go because they are for sure mines. Same like Soabaya. Yeah. Maybe another day. Here only some landing. Taking Brunei. Brunei have some oil, so not much, but 11 plus 10 destroyed. And I think I unload here the 16th army because here are many forces of the 16th army, not many but some forces of the 16th army are here. So I also want to have the army HQ here. Before I take Manila, I want the maximum army command bonus for my units. Yeah. Here in Clarkfield I have mainly the 14th army. It is some small pieces of 16th and other stuff independently, but it's mainly the 14th army, and the 14th army HQ is already here. But it's only 900 attack value, so this is maybe a little light to attack Clarkfield, so I would say I first take Manila, and after I take Manila I go for Clarkfield. After I take Clarkfield I clean up the stuff in Batavia, Batan. So you can see here's my carrier fleet. I try to find here something, but only a small cargo ship, so not sure. Maybe, I mean, Dojo knows that my carriers was here in Brisbane, so he maybe called all back. Then it's hard to catch up. Let's say this. You also need sometimes a little luck. More I cannot normally talk. Well, good. I think it's first enough. See you all. Take care. Bye bye.